on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you see a Patreon account. You click, you become a member. All you got to do is try recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to. Now, with that being said, we are here today with a little bit of movie review. So, I just saw Suicide Squad. The movie was released in movie theaters earlier this week. Came out on HBO Max yesterday, so I had to check it out. If you've seen Suicide Squad or know about the Suicide Squad, you already know that it's basically the same idea. A bunch of villains doing some dirt for the government in order to get time shaved off their freaking prison sentence. Let's go into the nitty-gritty of this film. Some of the pros in this movie. Freaking obviously, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Great job. Idris Elba as Bloodsport. I don't know why I want to call him Bloodshot. Bloodsport. He carried this movie, and I really felt like he was going to be a central focus of this film, and he was going to be one of those likable characters, and I was right. Idris Elba's character was definitely one of the more noticeable characters. Now, I thought that John Cena's character was going to annoy the shit out of me, and sometimes he did, but also I kind of liked the little relationship that he had with Idris Elba's character, a little back and forth, friendly competition, you know, that vibe. You know what? It actually suited him pretty well. Although John Cena's face and his voice annoys the hell out of me, he in limitedness, in little tidbits and tiny little increments, I was able to tolerate him. You know, it was tolerable. This movie is a blend. It's like Mystery Men meets the Expendables, right? I feel like that's like the greatest comparison ever, because Mystery Men had a band of misfits that you didn't know who the hell these people were, and you grow to like them in the comedic aspect, but the expendable aspect is just that it's blood, guts, and ash just flying all over the place while people are getting shot and slaughtered. So that's my comparison to any other film. It's like freaking Expendables meets Mystery Men. You know, I think that's like the greatest comparison I could come up with. Another pro of this movie, you know what? The gore. The gore was fun, very action oriented. You can tell that James Gunn was very, very creative with the way that he filmed this movie. There's certain scenes and camera angles that he worked with, and camera play that he did, and it fit the scene really well. It went really well with an action movie, and then it made me think of something in the middle of it. I feel like James Gunn should honestly have directed a rated R Venom movie. Tell me if you agree with me or not. I think that James Gunn directing a rated R Venom movie would be tight, but I digress. The gore in this movie was not limited. There was a lot of blood, fatalities, bodies flying all over the place. It was great. You know, the killing aspect was great. King Shark, funny as hell. You know, he was just one of those characters, man, like comic relief all the way through. And the whole time it just reminded me of my childhood, because every time I saw King Shark, I thought about Street Sharks all the way. So that, I mean, the movie flowed pretty well for a 2-hour movie. I really thought that it was going to drag once I saw that 2-hour limit. It's like, fuck, man, this movie's going to be long. But you know what? It goes along well. Some of the things I didn't really like, I didn't like the jumping around. There was a lot of jumping around from this is what's happening. 20 minutes earlier. Okay, well then this is what happened. 3 days later. And then this is what happened. Okay, and 5 minutes later. You know, I didn't really like that. Another pro, I mean, I just randomly remembered it. James Gunn has this really cool way of, I guess, showing the chapter titles in this movie, because the movie has chapter titles. There's one in particular towards the end that really stood out to me, the way that he utilized the destructive framework around him. I thought that was a really cool way of showing the next chapter card. All the other ones are kind of like whatever. It's cool when you're looking at it. But the one that stood out to me was the one at the end. Back to them cons, though. Some of the CGI was lacking, especially the you already seen it, the freaking star. The star at the end, I mean, I feel like that CGI could have been a lot better. Certain scenes where you're looking at the backdrop, the CGI backdrop is really bad. It's really just in a lot of scenes, the CGI really gets you, and it just looks really bad. I don't know. Um, Another thing is James Gunn usually has a really good soundtrack to his films. This movie I felt like didn't really have that. I think the only song was the to me that hit was the song at the beginning, which was the Man in Black. What is I don't know why I forgot his name, but anyway, overall, I think the movie was pretty entertaining. It's an entertaining movie. It's obviously better than the first one. Idris Elba's character definitely carries the movie way better than Will Smith's character in the first film. The final boss was way more entertaining than the final boss from the first film. This movie basically destroys the first movie tenfold easily. Another thing that I've noticed too is that Harlequin. I noticed that they were giving Harlequin a lot of FaceTime, right? And Harlequin's one of those bittersweet characters. Either the scene's gonna hit or it's gonna miss. And there was a couple of scenes in there where you're watching it and you're just like, okay, that was a complete miss. But then there's certain scenes where you're like, damn, that kind of hit. You know, it suited her character. The dialogue was on point. It was funny. You know, this movie has a lot of like comedic relief. There's a lot of what the hell moments. There's a lot of what was the purpose of that. You know, but then there's some jokes that fall flat. You know, and that's what you're going to get with these type of movies. You're going to get a whole lot of jokes that fall flat. Then you're going to get some jokes that hit like right on the money. Harlequin's character, like I said, she's hit or miss. Um, it really makes you love and hate her. Like some scenes you're just like, yo, she's dope. Some of the scenes you're like, man, she's annoying. And then some scenes you're just like, why is she getting so much FaceTime? You know, I mean, I get it. Like there's the thing I will say about Harlequin is she has some of the most beautiful shots in this movie. They did a lot of cool little colorful cinematography shots for you, Miss Margaret Robbie. Also, like you see some of it in the commercial with the flowers that she's shooting. You see all the flowers all over the place. Me personally, I felt like that scene stood out and it didn't really fit the mood. But I mean, from like an artistic aspect, like if you're trying to get like a poster or some shit, I think that would make a really good poster. But as far as like in the scene, in the moment, I felt like it didn't really suit that well. But that's just me. Um, this movie, like I said, it's entertaining. I'll give it that. I will give it the title of entertaining. But is it great? No, not by a long shot. A lot of people were crowning this one of the best DC products ever. Hell no, not by a long shot. It's one of the more better DC products that's come out in the past couple of years. In its entirety is pretty entertaining all the way through. It's not one of these movies that's supposed to be. See, you have to when you say stuff like that, you have to think about Dark Knight, Dark Knight Begins. Even though I don't like it, Dark Knight Rises. You have to look at the Joker. You have to look at Wonder Woman. You look at all of these films that are really good films at telling stories and making you feel and telling a cohesive, full, story. And you're just looking at this one, and it's just really just like it's eye candy. It's violent eye candy. It's kind of like what the first Deadpool movie did, you know. So you have to really take that into consideration when you're trying to crown this the best DC product because you're comparing this to actual film. This is just a movie, you know. Just the difference between a movie and a film is a movie is just something that's entertaining you, popcorn, watch, haha, you know. I enjoyed it. You know, a film is there to make you think. It's there to make you feel. It's there to kind of garnish your emotions. It's trying to bring something out of you. It's trying to, give you quotable lines or quotable dialogue that you just really love. There's nothing in this movie that follows that rubric, in my opinion. You know, this isn't a great film. It's an enjoyable movie, you know. I don't see where people were talking about this is the best DC film. I don't see it. You know, we're not that far away from like Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is a really good film. We're not that. I mean, we're far from it, but it's not out of. I mean, you have the Joker. Literally, the Joker to me is one of the best freaking DC films out there. And I mean, a lot of people are like, yo, like, well, Joker. I don't consider Joker the DC film. If you see that damn DC stamp, bro, it's DC. This is a DC character, whether or not you like it, whether or not it fits your narrative, whether or not it fits the comic book narrative. It is a DC product. You know, you really have to take into consideration all of these DC films when you're making some sort of bold ass statement like the Suicide Squad is one of the best DC films ever. You know, it's like I said, it's enjoyable, it's fun, it's dumb mayhem, you know, but it's like at the same time when you're really, really trying to pick it apart and really looking at the story, you're going to find yourself looking at points that's stupid, that's dumb. So this is a movie where you have to shut off your brain. You cannot sit here and critically think throughout this film. This is not a movie that's supposed to make you think. It's just supposed to make you laugh. It's just supposed to make you pop for the freaking kills and things like that. That's all it's meant to make you do, you know? And it's by freaking far way superior than the first Suicide Squad product. So hopefully, if they do another one, James Gunn can come back and direct that one as well. But I really think that James Gunn should do freaking Venom. I think he should do a Venom film, rated R. That'll be tight, but we know it's not going to happen. But I think that'll still be tight, though. So, here on the Cinema Chop Shop, we grade movies in 3 ways. Count it 3 ways. Either you get bodied and sent to the bowels of hell, or you get spared and I'll tell you how great your movie is, or you get a big fat meh. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, this movie was very entertaining for me. I enjoyed myself quite greatly, but you have to shut off your brain. You cannot sit there and try to think. You cannot try to just analyze. You just have to watch and enjoy. And for what it is, I enjoyed it. So I am going to spare this movie.
He ain't earned the death. He ain't earned the death at my hands. God's only man, spared by the butcher.
You heard it, folks. I'm sparing this movie. I had a good time watching it. Is it some freaking greatest film ever from DC? Hell no. You know, but it was entertaining and it went above my expectations. I was really going into this movie expecting a turd, but I mean, I got something decent. So it was something watchable, and it has me thinking about possibly adding it to my collection. But you know, I mean, when the time comes and I see it, I'll know if I'm going to actually pick it up or not. But that's my review. Let me know if you agree or disagree, whatever the case may be. Drop it in the comment section down below. You are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you guys are having a magnificent day, and adios.